My girlfriend 18F cheated on me with my cousin 23M. She claims it was to help him with his suicidal thoughts and it is tearing my family apart. Which person do I cut ties with? Throw away account because this is so weird. My girlfriend, who we will call S, cheated on me with my cousin, who we will call JS, was 17, and recently turned 18. I, myself, turned 18 just a month before S, while J is 23. Here's a little bit of background information. J has lived with me, so he is close to an older brother. S and I have never had any other violations of trust in our 2+ year-long relationship. S and J have known each other longer than I have known S because J was best friends with S's older brother. In late February, J added S on TikTok and she had mentioned it to me. She mentioned whenever someone had added her on any social media. Since they knew each other for a long time, I was fine with this. S had given subtle hints that J was getting a little too close, but the best hint was, "Does J ever text you this much?" To which I responded with, "Sometimes he responds fast and other times I won't get a response for a week." Which was very true to me. Here's where things get a little fishy. J had opened up about past trauma since he was 12, which led to his attempt at age 12. S had dealt with similar issues in her own life, so was very empathetic towards this situation. After opening up about his trauma and not being turned away, J asked S to keep it a secret and told her about his new plan to commit on April 10th. This already marked a weird friendship that I had no idea about. This went on for about 3 weeks until S had to leave town to attend an out-of-state funeral. Before S left, J had begun texting S more and more romantically than friendly. It was when she was finally gone, J confessed feelings and said that if S didn't help him he would himself as he planned on the 10th. S claims that she denied his feelings at first and said that she only had eyes for me. S also claims that after she said that J had freaked out and went missing for the night. After that, S had started to say words of affirmation towards J to keep him from freaking out for his own safety. This started their weird situationship, if you can even call it that. Fast forward a few days and S and J meet each other at Walmart. This is where both parties' stories get mixed. They then meet up again 3 days later, then 2 days after S's birthday and then 2 days later after that. In total they met up 4 times. 2 times, J is claiming things that definitely can be considered cheating. Personally, I feel that if someone needs to hide messages, especially messages that say, "I love you," it is cheating. Here's a summary of what J had to say about those days. At Walmart, they met up, drove around to disc golf, had a nice long conversation and shared a kiss. 3 days later, since the last time went so well, J had suggested that S snuck out and hang out again. J said that they were out from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., didn't do anything but talk and shared a nice cuddle. The next time they met up, S snuck out again, but this time they drove around and eventually took it to the back seat where J claims they had. When I had talked to him more about it, he gave many details about the. I personally do not believe this story because of things I knew about S's health period blood at the same time this was occurring that J did not mention even when I asked for all the details, gross or not. I did not tell J this when I was talking to him about it, but that is my suspicion on why he is lying about that detail. 2 days after they allegedly had, J had lured S over to my grandmother's house for a birthday gift to which he claims they had, again. Once again, missing that detail makes me fail to believe that it happened. Then, the 10th came along and he went out on a night drive and called S when S failed to answer. J had hit a breaking point and attempted another shot at his life. He claims that H is gun jammed. It was after this, J felt like he was being manipulated to be in this relationship and he began to feel guilty being in this relationship with his younger cousin's girlfriend. J had told me many bad things about S that I have a hard time believing after being in a relationship with her. Here's a direct quote of what he had said: "She is a narcissist. A psychopath with no empathy. A completely disgusting human being. She makes everyone believe she is someone she is not just to validate her own ego." When I talked with J about his side of the story, this was the first ever time I had ever learned about his mental health problems. When he was telling me this, I felt endangered as he was driving in the middle of nowhere quite recklessly. I learned that he kept a gun in his trunk and other forms of weapons. With his story, he also shared tons of messages that range from completely friendly, and some that prove that weird situationship. I told J that I forgave him for anything that he might have done, and to just be safe. A few days later, J and S had accidentally run into each other. This made J go a little crazy and he went missing. All I had was a text saying, "I broke my promise, I love you," Thankfully he was found and was brought home, but I thought we had lost him. This leads us to where we are now with many questions of what actually happened. I feel that he had lied to me to my face about details by greatly over-exaggerating what had happened. Out of my family, my parents and I were the last people to know about this situation. Here's what S's summary sounds like. She knows she messed up and took things too far. Here's what she has to say about the meetups. At Walmart, they had planned to meet up because Jay was currently living with my grandma. S had picked up a hobby of making earrings, so she made a pair for my grandma to give to her. 2 days before, she had driven to disc golf with a friend, which matches up with Life 360. 2 days after that, S had snuck out to help Jay. Jay had called her and said that they were going to meet up because Jay was harming himself too much via cuts. When S had snuck out, she claims that Jay was in the backseat with the gun to his head. She was able to get it away from his head and put it on the center console. After this, Jay was very thankful and was crying onto S's shoulder. They drove around for a bit talking about how to resolve this, and S was gone from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. She had turned off her phone so as to not worry me on Life 360. 2 days later, when they met up again, S had only snuck out because she had seen Jay's car in the driveway. She had assumed the worst and was hoping he was not in the back seat again. This time he was in the front, happy to just talk to her. They drove to the middle of nowhere. S claims that any text Jay had sent me about protection revolves back towards Jay's gun, as that night Jay was anxious about it and had shot it upwards in the middle of nowhere. S had advised him to do so, but on safety. Jay did not do it on safety, which is a violation of gun safety laws, I believe. S returned home. The next time they met up, S only went over to my grandma's house to pick up her birthday gift, and that was all. When the 10th came, and when Jay had called her to receive that reassurance, S was busy with a friend and could not pick up. Being that she knew his plan, I find this disturbing. This was an opportunity to call me to warn me about everything, but instead she stayed quiet about this situation for over a month. When Jay had run into her randomly and went missing, I had to confront S about this and hear her entire story. I did this with the help of the school counselor and whatnot. S never talked bad about Jay through all of this, but is in the process of getting a restraining order because S feels that she was stalked through this and an easy target because Jay was a good friend of S's older brother. S says that Jay knows every entrance to her house, knows where the spare keys are hidden, and everything, and that her safety is at risk currently, especially because of his weapons in his car. Now that both of their sides, I would like to give a little summary of my own of what both parties wronged me with. First, starting with Jay, he never told me anything about contacting S. He did not respect my boundaries there. If Jay felt that feelings were mutual, he should have warned me before seeking out a relationship with S. Jay went through an old iPhone of mine still connected with my Apple account to learn as to who I texted the most. He also went onto my computer, which I had trusted him to do so. Now that I am reflecting, I am realizing that Jay always acted weird when I brought up S's name. Jay also told me about his issues last, and when doing so his emotions seemed mixed. Excited at the thought of me breaking up with S, and also shameful for being selfish of his own life. If he truly cared about me, and fixed a relationship with me, I feel that he would be more sorry for creating a wedge in my relationship. Jay had put me in danger when he told me this story, and I also feel that he lied, which is something I had already mentioned. Now with what S did wrong to me, S should have created a boundary with Jay very early on into what was their friendship. S should have been more clear with what was worrying her about Jay. S should have warned me when Jay was having these thoughts. Her only excuse to that was, Jay said that you knew and that me telling you would only create gossip that would make his life worse. S should also not have been sketchy with her location if she ever wanted me to trust her. S could have warned literally anyone to make the situation better for her. Now that they have been typed out, I truly believe that Jay had wronged me way more, but that doesn't mean that S is all clear. Her keeping this life and death information had created lots of mistrust in my family that is tearing it apart. Not just my immediate family, but my grandparents, aunts, uncles, and even second cousins have been tied into this. On one hand, I have logic, all of this evidence on why S isn't trustworthy and how she did me wrong. On the other hand, I have my emotions, my big heart telling me that she is telling more of the truth and that she went the wrong way about interacting with Jay. The reason why I think this is because Jay has done similar things in the past to irritate me. Personally, I think he was doing this to sabotage my relationship with S before we went to college. He has made weird advances on girls before, similar to what he did with S. This is already on Jay's police record. My family is siding with Jay, not saying that he's right, but that I should cut ties with S indefinitely. My personal wants are telling me a different thing, so I am in a huge dilemma. This secret of mine has gotten out in my community and rumors are just making it worse. Please help Reddit, thanks. Peas. If there is going to be any Subway Surfers TikTok stuff going on, please hide some of the details about the... I do not need Jay to figure out that I know he is lying about that. Maybe also change the letter for their names. I'd also like my personal opinion to be left out, as I do not want people to think I am a doormat, unless I am. IDK anymore. I am about to graduate high school and am already going through a midlife crisis. If there are more questions that I can answer, I will either respond in comments or respond with an update. Thanks. Edit. I wrote this at 4 AM, so there's some errors. Jay has changed his story around, not a whole lot, but to the point where it's suspicious. For example, Jay had at first said they had 4 times, then not at all, and then now 2, which is what he stuck with. S has been saying that she's the reason the gun jammed, mentioning the meetup they had 5-ish days before Jay's attempt on April 10th. Yes, I consider what S did as cheating, but I believe there is levels to everything, and the level that it happened on, as I do not believe they were P. Highsical is forgivable, hard to do, but I am willing to do it.